So here I am, in the middle of my break from content. I wanted to take a week break off from Mario Kart World content, and Nintendo decided to ruin my plans and drop a big update. Now, this update's been out for about 8 hours now, so I have a little bit more information about these changes. And there's a lot to go over. I'm gonna go over what I think is important here and just show you guys whether or not this update is great, terrible, and what the future is going to be for this game, because I have hope, but it's let's just get started. First of all, you have 2 new practice modes. You can practice with mushrooms only with no computers. That means the bots don't get to interfere with red shells, shocks, things like that. That's fantastic. You can practice any track you want in the game, including intermissions, including the 3-lap tracks, with mushrooms, without mushrooms, however you want to practice it. It's great. I love this change. Great start. You can now get into watching ghosts from time trials faster. Fantastic change. We have spectator mode improvement. Great. Now there's a bar at the bottom that shows you how long until the next race is going to start. Great stuff. I don't know what this does. Let me know in the comments. We have a way to show you that you've completed all the P switches, question mark Play-Doh's Peach Medallion. So I'm guessing like maybe it'll change to gold. I don't really know. Maybe someone has a photo format for me of this before I finish editing. I don't know. Computers are weaker, which means like bots maybe have a less of an effect on actual races if people leave. This also means the glitch of people skipping massive parts of tracks could be obsolete. However, it is still going to massively change, the races that you play if someone does perform it, but maybe they just won't get first anymore when they do it. So I guess that's good. I would rather them actually fix the tracks, but maybe that's very hard to do with how they coded it, especially with like the free roam. Now let's get into the actual changes that people are talking about. The item changes. There's also one more change we're going to get into later that, of course, a lot of people are talking about. This part of the update is just fantastic. You're going to love it. Homing of Boomerang is weaker, so the Boomerang got nerfed. I don't know how significant this actually is. Maybe I get a clip of me getting the Boomerang. I don't know if there's any difference, but whatever. Whatever makes the Boomerang worse is a W in my book. Triple mushrooms in low spots have a lower probability of being pulled, which is great. I think this change is good because people slow starting at the beginning of tracks to get triple mushrooms was starting to take over. My slow start strategy actually was starting to take over the meta of competitive Mario Kart. I don't know if you saw those videos, but it's been really a big deal because tracks like Great Block Ruins, Wario Stadium, those tracks are starting to turn into very toxic shroomer tracks. So maybe this makes it so that those tracks are, much better in terms of front running purely. I don't know if this means that the guaranteed triple mushrooms you would get in like straight up bottom spots are now no longer guaranteed. Maybe you'll get a single mushroom sometimes. Maybe you'll get a star sometimes. I don't really know exactly how this is working, but this could potentially be a good change. It could also be a bad change for the reason of the fact that triple mushrooms were sometimes, when you were bagging, the worst item you could pull, and that's not a great item. 3 mushrooms is not a great item to really catch up. Golden mushrooms, much better. Stars, much better. You can dodge the shock. Bullet bills, much better. You can catch up a lot with a bullet bill. The shock, obviously. If that makes all the other items a much higher probability of being pulled, that could make bagging a whole lot better, and it could make races a whole lot more luck-based, let's just say. This change I do not like at all. You now get question block items, so the coin block, you can get it in higher spots. I don't know, it's kind of a weird wording. It also might mean it's a higher probability, but it also might mean that you aren't going to pull them in bottom spots, which also might make bagging better, because if you were in a semi-bottom spot, making it so that you can't pull question block items in those lower mid spots could be a very bad thing for bagging, because that might just have buffed it a whole ton. But I think an even bigger deal because this is more like a, let's just say, like a probability increase, potentially just like this, even though it's not worded like that. This update has made it so that you can pull a coin block in first place, which might actually sound like a great thing, right? You get more coins than a coin item. But when you factor in the fact you can pull coin block, coin item, it might ruin front running for good, because you are not guaranteed a defensive item in first place if you touch a double box, which could be very, very bad for front running. So this update seems to have, in my opinion, buffed bagging, which is not what people think of from these changes. However, I think it is a good directional change for a couple of reasons, but we'll get into that later after this change. Now, this doesn't really matter, but we have the frequency of lab type courses increasing, which you might think, oh, this is fantastic. Nintendo, listen to us. Oh, thank you, Nintendo, so much. Now we get to play the 3 lab courses. No, you are not getting to play any 3 lab tracks at all. This increase in frequency might be as low as 1 to 2%. I'm not even kidding. Nintendo, I think, is purposely trolling us. This is hilarious, but you sometimes get more 3 lap tracks. When there's 3 tracks you can select, sometimes you get 1 3 lap track in the selection. And guess what? Random has not changed one bit. You still have a 75% chance of pulling an intermission track and a 25% chance of pulling a 3 lap track, which is very disappointing. Now, there's a bunch of bug fixes, which is great. I'm glad they did this, especially because the game was getting very glitchy. We're going to find probably a lot more glitches. Another thing they could be doing is they are doing an update every month at the end of the month. This update happened on Tuesday of the final week of July. And guess what? The other update happened on a Wednesday that they decided to release this. This is honestly a Wednesday for a lot of people, this change. So maybe Wednesday at the end of every month, they might be giving us an update, which could be great. This could mean they could salvage the changes with the item system. They could also salvage the 3 lap problem with Mario Kart World. I really hope, Nintendo, if you're watching this video, I think what you should do with the coin block is make it just like a coin item in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. If you have a coin block, you can only pull defensive items. You cannot pull a coin. If you have a coin, you can only pull defensive items, just like in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Maybe you can even pull a coin shell in first place. That could count as a coin item. And make it so that you can pull double defense with a coin item in first place. I think that would be a great change. What would also be a great change, 3 lap courses. Make it so that either we get 1 3 lap course every single time in a track selection, or you make an entirely separate worldwide lobby option for players to play the 3 lap tracks. Now, I don't know if this is ever going to happen, but in case it doesn't, there is going to be a link in the description and in the comments of a Discord, the Mario Kart World Discord, where you can play in private lobbies, where you can play whatever track you want, including intermissions, but you can pick any track in the game at any time. You can join and leave whenever you want. You're not, forced to stay like you would in competitive Mario Kart. And I think this is a great way to play the game. I know you have to set up a couple things with Discord. You have to, join private lobbies. It's a little bit more complicated, but if you still want to play Mario Kart World the way you want, I highly suggest you join this Discord. It's a very huge community filled with plenty of great people. I highly suggest you do this. Okay, so I forgot to go over this part at the very end, but there are, quote-unquote, several other issues that have been addressed to improve the gameplay experience. Now, I don't know exactly what this means, because I don't know what several other issues means. Maybe it's just a couple other bug fixes. I know one thing that is pretty major that has changed. This is going to change Mario Kart world for the rest of the time. And that is, they have improved the trick boost exponentially. It is about 2 times as good as it was before. This is going to break a lot of world records in the coming days. It's going to bring a lot of activity to time trials and world records. This is going to change a lot. It's also going to change how a lot of the shortcuts work and things like that. It's going to be quite the experience. I don't know if it's necessarily an improvement. I think I like the change. It felt like half tricks and full tricks didn't feel much of a difference in between those two, but now it seems like they made it so that the full boost tricks are basically almost always what you want to get. I don't necessarily think that's a great change, but you know, you could go either way on it, I guess, and you're gonna notice it right away if you play the game that there's a big difference between the trick boosts. Just wanted to quickly mention that before I, sign off for you guys, but yeah, let me know what you guys think of all these changes in the comment section below. I think this has been one of the updates ever. Hopefully we get more in the future. But with that all out of the way, I'm going to get back to my break and come back hopefully a lot stronger with a very consistent schedule for you guys. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.